What is up everyone, welcome back to our channel and welcome to an episode that is dedicated to Black Myth WuKong. Today's video is the most in-depth review that I've done for video games so far, so please be aware that it will be filled with information, so please make sure just to use the timestamps down below and skip to the information that you want to know. So, without further ado, let's just jump straight to the point and see what this game is all about. Storyline. It would be an insult to compare the game with something else because it cannot be compared. Yes, it might have elements similar to other games, however it's a new and fresh idea that goes far beyond everyone's imagination. To begin with, the narrative is a folkloric one, treating the subject of gods in ancient Chinese mythology, which is also something that if you'd like to read more about, you can find them on Journey to the West. It's a 3-volume book, or depending on the publisher, but it's something that it's worth reading because it will give you some context to this idea. However, if you don't have time to read and you want to experience it yourself, the game it's exactly what this journey is. So a lot of Buddhism elements are presented too, and they are all blended in a story that reveals itself the more you advance in Wukong's journey to discover himself. The game is broken into chapters, and while you'll be able to push and power through some of the main chapters, at one point you have to take a step back and discover some of the side quests and upgrade some of your power-ups and unlock more items. The game's setup is made to encourage you to explore every inch of it, so I will strongly suggest just to do so before moving on from each main chapter. Don't forget, some of the main secrets cannot be revisited afterwards, so just make sure that each chapter boss or each chapter secret has been discovered before you move on, because they will definitely worth it. While the environment is supposed to be open world type, it has some clear limitations to it, and you would explore this and see them by yourself when you're trying to go over those boundaries. But this just shows how well blended the graphics of these games are, because once you have gone through an area and a chapter, you'll be able to revisit some of the secrets of that particular area, and I would encourage you to explore as much as possible because there's loads of items that you have in your inventory that are supposed to do something. Now, the only point that I really want to touch on is how immersive the environments really are. From jungles to deserts to mountains and lava and clouds, everything blends so well, and it's just an amazing experience that not only is cinematic but in the same time is really realistic. So definitely something that I personally enjoyed, the dynamic and all these kind of environments that have been put together and so thoughtful. It's just to show that no corners have been cut when developing this game, and I think this is something that is really appreciated, at least in the gaming community, because everyone has seen the efforts put into this game so far. Right, talking about graphics, we are looking at a game made in Unreal 5. Now obviously this is very noticeable because it has some really cool trace raying effects that are only possible in the Unreal 5 engine. But also when we talk about the graphics, we need to make a note of the environment. As mentioned earlier, these are stunning. However, when everything is blended with an artistic element of folklore, well, that's when you get something like WuKong, which looks absolutely stunning. I'm not going to praise this for too long because it's obvious that there are some very bold moves over there from the developers when they've added the stuff that they had to. But when you make a game that is so picturesque, I think the main thing that you need to appreciate, it's where you can take snaps of the actual game. Now this is a really strong statement from the developer because they have added this feature where you guys can take actual pictures from the game within the menu. Now this is not available only on PC, it's available on console as well, and I think this is just so we can see how confident the guys were with the game when they've launched it. The artistic narrative. Now, the artistic team behind the animation, drawings and music have absolutely nailed this game throughout. And I think, even though I haven't played it in native Mandarin, but even with the English translation, this game is absolutely perfect. Now, of course, there's some elements where you'd see the authenticity of the game, where some of the songs are played still in Mandarin, and I think this is perfect. And even though some people were commenting that those should have been translated as well, I think this is really adding an element of culture and transparency to the entire process. So being able to experience this firsthand with this game has been absolutely unique. And one of the things that I personally love the most is how well the storyline had been told throughout the game. There hasn't been a moment where you'd think that this wouldn't make sense, or there hasn't been a moment where you'd feel that the game was going nowhere. Everything blended so well, and all the chapters had been concluded in such a nice way. And with that being said, even the animations that you guys see on the screen, these are part of the game, anime style, and it's absolutely amazing that they have thought about making this available for the game itself throughout and for us to experience. So make yourself a favor, don't skip these cutscenes because they're absolutely stunning and they tell you a much deeper storyline of the actual game. The gameplay. Now, this is an interesting one, guys, because I'm sure that you probably noticed that from the beginning there isn't that much hand-holding. The narrative shares some of the main elements and controls, however, when you are then left by yourself to figure everything out, that's when the game becomes interesting. Small hints here and there are presented, making the experience mysterious and mythical. However, again, the decision is within you and how your personal play choice is. So probably one of the things that I would suggest always doing is throughout the game you will find loads of hidden side quests that will make your character even stronger. So make sure you explore because there are a lot of things to find and unlock. Bosses come thick and fast and you'll be surprised how many encounters you have throughout the game. So being prepared is probably the best thing I can advise you to do. Now, also towards the end of the game, it is so rewarding to receive some of the highest level items for just basically not much effort, and it's, believe me, once you have played the game throughout, because the difficulty gets gradually harder, to get those things so easy is super rewarding. But be aware because the ending is quite strong, so unless you're kind of familiar with the powers of Wukong, you will find some difficulties there. The game itself doesn't have a difficulty grade, it's one difficulty throughout, and this difficulty is gradually getting harder as mentioned earlier. So the later you advance in the game, you will notice that certain abilities or power-ups are required to pass to another chapter. And you also might find that mini bosses are super annoying. And yes, I'm speaking about you, Mr. Long, because you have taken so much of my time. But again, these are the things that will make this game so unique, because you would advance to some chapters and come back and finish those side missions or side bosses because they will give you those nice elements that you want to upgrade. So with that in mind, because the difficulty it's kind of the same throughout the game or gradually gets interesting as you advance, you'll be looking at an overall playing time of about 90 hours. This is how long it took me to finish the game, and I think it's so rewarding to see that a game in recent times is able to pull something like this off. I don't remember when the last time in the past 2 years or 3 years I have played a game so long, but it was so rewarding, so enjoying, and such a fantastic experience throughout that I did not feel that 90 hours have passed by. Of course, I haven't played them in one go. They have been throughout various days, hence why the lateness of this review, but it has been a fantastic experience. So another gameplay related topic, and those are the power-ups and upgrades, which again I think is so important to talk about because they have been throughout the game so consistent. And while at first it seems fairly linear, the more you progress in the game, the more items you will unlock, and later you would obviously come to find all the items that Wukong has lost. So be creative, use the spells and the armors that work best for you, and don't forget to always kind of be prepared for the battle. There's certain bosses that you would have items since chapter 1 and 2 that you would only find the use of them later in the game, so don't forget about them and always be on top of your inventory. Now, of course, as I said, be creative, use the spells and armors that work best together just to maximize your combat chances. My tips for you guys, given that I have played the game till up to the end, I want to experience and share this experience with you guys because I have enjoyed it to the max, and there's some things that when playing I have come across and I wished I knew about a bit earlier. So one of the things that is definitely worth mentioning, because it's fairly OP and is something that you could use or take advantage of since the beginning of the game, you can actually jump higher than the game limits your ability. So just by pressing the jumping button, you can then use your stuff power up, and then this will launch you a bit higher, so you can launch another basically jump on top of your jump and get to those really high areas. Now this is interesting because there will be some parts on the maps that you can actually skip the entire walk around, even though it's not recommended because you'll get that extra wheel by fighting the enemies. You could also, you know, revisit those places, and if you want to skip through, you can use this jump shortcut. So make sure to use it, make sure to try it, and it's definitely one of the things I would recommend first. Number 2, it's exploring the quests. Some quests will only be made available once you actually have finished some of the chapters. So make sure to keep a tally on them as the game suggests, and make sure to always revisit them once the chapters are completed. Because you will find that, for example, some of them will require you to go back, and once you have completed those main challenges, you will then be able to get the rewards. Right, and at number 3, it's related to the drinks, so make sure to have those and to use them at the maximum capacity. Now, of course, you get a free drink every time when you go to the Zodiac Garden, so make sure to always visit the Fox friend to give us the relevant free drink. But also don't underestimate the side bosses, because some of them can be difficult, and some of these drinks can have a really good power up or spell towards that. So just make sure to always have some of those spells and drinks equipped with you, and use them accordingly to the fight. Now, I'm sure that some people might be against this, but I personally found that some of these drinks were really handy. So always make sure to collect those ingredients, and always make sure to harvest those seeds in the Zodiac Garden. Right guys, so in ending, right, with a lot of things that are happening in the game and with such a gorgeous storyline, I would really suggest to keep away some of the spoilers from you. So what I mean by this is that if you're interested in playing the game, just go for it, play it, and then see some of the secrets if you want to find some other things about the game afterwards. But my initial recommendation is not to see any of the spoilers, because you will just ruin your experience. The game is stunning, and believe me when I'm saying that I have refused to watch anything about it until I finished it, because you would just make this experience a lot nicer. And again, because it's a game that we haven't seen the style of for quite some time, it's really nice and rewarding for you, the person that buys the game, to have a fantastic experience. And this is exactly what this game does. Has a fantastic narrative, has a fantastic storyline, has a fantastic artwork, the gameplay is neat, and you know, at the end of the day, you don't have any problems with the game either. I have not had any crashes, I have not had any glitches, and it's amazing because it's a game that was only launched 2 weeks. We already had an update on it as well, so I really hope that the developers, if you guys are watching this, we really want to see a DLC for this game, because it's absolutely stunning. So, you know, it's one of those things that, as I said, please don't spoil it for yourself. Play it from end to end, because you will be enjoying every second of it. But this is it for today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. I hope you have found this video useful as well. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it's not my general content, but I do hope you guys have appreciated the hype here. A lot of gamers have jumped on Black Myth WuKong, and you know, it's purely because it's such an amazing game. And I just wanted to share with you my views, how I've played the game, and you know, why I would recommend this game to anyone interested to play it. So in my opinion, it's by far the best game of 2024, and I really hope to see some more games from these guys because they absolutely nailed this, and it's been such a fantastic experience to play it. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching again, and see you in the next video soon.